Thank you, guitarfetish.com. This is one of their factory buyout bodies. It's an ES335 style body, but it is smaller. They said it's about the Hofner size, which I'm fine with because I like the ES335, but I like it a little smaller, which I'm totally cool with. Now, I got that and a neck to go along with it, which is this guy right here. The frets are actually in decent shape for, I guess they got this out of the factory while they were building it. They found some flaws or whatever, like right here in the neck pocket. A little bit of gap there, but I could put a little tiny little wooden shim in there and shove it in there, or just fill it up with glue to keep it nice and solid. But all this for $100, about $110. The body was $50, the neck was about $60, and I got a little bridge to go along with it. Well, no, I didn't. I mean, I got a tailpiece to go along with it. I'm hoping that when I get the neck on, that the angle is nice and pretty large, so I can get one of their great, my mind went blank. Oh, there are arch top style bridges to where I could just lay it on top, move it around to where I could find the correct scale length, measure it up. I'm guessing it's going to be 25.5, much like a Fender. But so I don't have to, drill holes into wood because, one, I don't have a drill press. I live in an apartment, so I don't really have room for one in here. Even though I could get one of those top mounted ones, or table mount top ones, and do it from there. But it's okay. I have one of those little portable stand things you just hook your drill up to, but it's not that accurate, so I'd rather just see if I can manage to get the top mounted one that I could just throw in there. Anyway, guitarfetish.com, I love that site. I've gotten some really nice pickups on there. I've gotten a couple that weren't that great, but the VEH, the Filtertron style pickups, the Neoven noiseless Strat pickups, all of those are absolutely awesome. And their Dream 180s and Dream 90s, I love those pickups. They sound so sweet. But the only pickups I don't like from them are their bladed pickups, which I've gotten a couple, and they were really, really, really muddy. There was no brightness to them at all. It was hard to get a good sound out of them out of one of my guitars, and I ended up going with a Seymour Duncan Dimebucker set, and those are friggin' awesome. And they should be, because I paid almost $200 for them. Anyway, this is the build. One problem, the work that I'm going to have to put in is going to be pretty extensive. The neck pocket is a little too tight. It's a couple millimeters too tight for the neck, which this is at about 58 millimeters. Let me get my calipers out after I set my phone on my new stand here, or clip, whatever you want to call it. Alright, I guess that's good. There's my cat. Okay. Here's the neck. Set it to 0. Okay. Moved a little bit on me. Okay. It's at 58.367, and the neck pocket is at try to get it right on the edge so I get an accurate hit. It's actually at 72, and that's because I have been filing it down some. It was at about 56.5, but I started using just this regular crap file I have. Got it from Home Depot. I love this thing. I use this all the time. It was taking too long because that's maple, and it's a little harder to cut with a cheap file, so I ended up using this Crimson Guitars fret leveler file, and it's making short work of this neck. So I'll probably use this some more, just go straight, and then I'm pretty sure the bottom is not going to be flush, so I will sharpen one of my chisels and very, very, very slowly just work away that bottom portion so the neck sits perfectly flat on the bottom. And you want that so, you know, get full contact with the body. Once this guy slips right in there. Oh, I'll be damned. Huh. Well, what do you know? I guess 57 is going to work just fine. And that is how you want a neck to fit in. As tight as possible. Now the back isn't perfect, of course, but actually that looks pretty good. Okay, well, there you go. The bottom of that is not perfectly flush, but I'm not going to rely on that to keep the neck straight. I'm going to line it up, take some tape, get my little neck cradle. Keep it as straight as possible, get some tape, put it down towards the body, line it up, mark the center, try to find the center mark of the guitar, and try to get that perfect angle straight through. This may be a little loose, which is fine. I'm just going to get some cheap veneer. This is just a stick-on stuff you find over at, or iron it on. Find at Home Depot and iron it on there, or just use a soldering iron, heat it up, get it to stick on there, and then just slowly sand away. And I'm glad this finally got in there because I wanted to see how high that neck sits, and that's sitting pretty high, so I might be able to get away with their one of their archtop bridges. Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. Got some work to do still. Gotta straighten this out, or try to blend it in. Blend that in so it goes on nice and smooth. Sure I don't hit my light. Same here on this side. And that binding's really cheap plastic on here, so I'm surprised that didn't fall off when I was sanding and filing away. But overall, it's a pretty good fit. Could be a little tighter, that's fine. Not a biggie. But yeah. Okay. Thank you guys very much. You guys are going. Hopefully this build turns out great. Take care. Okay, I'm back. I guess I decided I wasn't done yet. But since the neck fits somewhat okay, I'm going to go ahead and clean this area up. If you can see that little piece of binding is sticking up some, and about 3 or 4 millimeters up. So what I'm going to do is just take my razor file from Crimson Guitars. Love Ben Crow, you're freaking awesome. I've learned a lot from you. Love your podcast, love your video blogs on guitar building. And all I'm going to do is slowly, actually let's use my cheapo file first and use that for finishing, I guess, or cleaning this up. But again, cheap little file. Just go up and down. Get that binding as close to the wood or right up on it. That's close, so I used a fine edge on this file, so we're going to go with Crimson Guitar fret file. That's right. And go slow. Yeah, that's close. And I already did most of this side, but a little bit still sticking up. Kiss that top part a little bit. This one's really aggressive. I love this file. Would have gotten the StuMac one, but I like to support Ben Crow. He's a good guy. Has some great products. I've gotten this. I pretty much got the whole fret leveling system from him. Got the crowning file. Here I've got the his fret rocker and his fret leveling straight edge thing. Good price, great product. I've done a couple guitars. I've leveled a couple of frets with his stuff, and it made quick work of it and accurate work. The accuracy is a lot better than speed, which I need to learn because sometimes I end up rushing through my builds or guitar kits I put together, and I've really been truly, put a real build together. What's the difference between a build and a project? Build is you build it from the ground up. You get the wood, cut it up, let it dry for a year, 2 years. Then you take it to your router or your bandsaw, cut the shape, and basically from the ground up build, or your guitar kit building, which is mostly what I do. You take some parts, put them together. It's kind of like saying a doctor or dentist isn't a doctor, but they all sort of do the same thing, just from different states of where it starts out at. I'm a kit builder of sorts, but one day I will build one from the ground up, but as I said, living in an apartment, it's very, very hard to do that when you have neighbors and they have noise laws and all that other stuff, and I don't want to get a noise ordinance ticket. I got one a long time ago when I was in a band. It was $135, and I don't want to spend that because I'm pretty sure the price has gone up. Just trying to straighten out the very bottom of this neck pocket where the edges sit. And I think that's good. A little bit more on this side. Vacuum that up later. Yeah. Alright, get a close up. Sorry, I got a message on my phone. But that's the edge. This is all kinds of chipped up earlier, but now it's nice and straight. Just one side, I'll get a little bit more here, and the other side. Later on, once I glue the neck on there, I'm going to sand this area so it sits flush up against that neck. And hopefully there's not a huge gap here, which I'm really praying there's not. I'm going to hopefully not have to shim anything, but I'm going to try to make that transition from body to neck as clean as possible. And one of the issues for paying $50 for an unfinished body with binding is your binding is really dirty. But I'm okay with this. I didn't expect this to be perfect for 50 bucks. I've always wanted to build one of these. I always wanted to have an ES335. I've played a few but never really owned one. But when you pay 50 bucks for a guitar body, especially a semi-hollow, you do not expect it to be perfect. And put in some work. And I've learned that over the years. And probably in the last year or so I learned a lot of other stuff. But right here in the neck pocket, I said earlier that there's a little gap or some chipping happened. I guess when they were putting it together, gluing it together, some of it broke off when they were clamping down the top and the back, or either that or they were routing, some stuff happened. But there's a lot of give in this area right there. And luckily I was working on a cigar box guitar, well, mostly the neck. This was one I was working on earlier. I should have cut this at the beginning, but I don't care. This whole thing was $3 and a lot of time, so and I got plenty of time. But this was the neck I was carving out with I was trying to build this whole thing with just this thing, this chisel and a couple other smaller ones. But I was getting bored and this thing was on its way, so I am going to skip this project for a while and move on to this. But anyway, I digress. But what I was getting to, I have a lot of chips and stuff sitting around inside of my vacuum cleaner, so I'm gonna cut a few pieces, or grab a few pieces, trim them, cut them to where they could slip under there, be nice and tight, and then try to fill up as much of that with wood instead of just glue, and fill that up with wood so it's nice and solid. Glue on top of it, try to seal that up with some sanding dust, and there's plenty of that here somewhere. And hopefully it makes a nice solid bottom for, or solid seat for the neck to sit on. Because you don't want to just put that on there, or there's some give, and it'll eventually, over time it'll just swell up and or cause some kind of damage, some more damage to it. But $50 guitar, I'm not worried, but I want this thing to play well, and I want it to sound nice, and I want it to be a really playable, giggable guitar. But I'm not going to be too upset if it's not, when later down the line I'm sitting there playing it and it just explodes on me. So I'm not going to worry about that too much, considering I'm probably going to, at the very end, spend less than $200 over the next couple months on this. It's okay, but I do want it to sound good for the first month at the very least. Anyway, I am yapping, and I have a little bit more cleanup to do on this neck pocket. I already filed down the very bottoms of where I was filing earlier, or sanding down the edges. Just got a little bit more chiseling to do at the very bottom where the file's sitting. So, I'm going to have some fun with this later. And back again. I'm going to try and get as much of this neck pocket cleaned up as possible. Like I said, there's a big gap under this neck pocket. I just got a little toothpick here, and it goes about halfway in. So, actually it goes almost 2/3 of the way in. And I'll do, I want to go with a toothpick or chips. You know what, I'm going to go ahead and go with the toothpick, because it can already get all the way in there, and I'll give somewhat of a solid base. Could be better. Decisions. I should have thought of this stuff before I started filming, but what the hell, I'm already here. Let's go with the toothpick. I know it goes all the way in there, plus it was a lot deeper in there. So this is Titebond wood glue. Just cover that up. As Sully from Sully's Guitar says, use that high dollar spreader. Get all that on there. And just go in, and that broke, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. That's why I have these little, I don't even know what you call these, but that's why I have them, for these types of situations. That's not perfect, nor was it meant to be, is what I'm going to tell everyone. Get another toothpick here. I'll shove that in there along with it. Let's also get some of this glue off of this one. This is just Titebond 2. I honestly don't know the difference between Titebond 1 and Titebond 2. I think Titebond 2 dries a little bit faster. But main reason I'm using this is because it's what I currently have, and I think that is good enough reason to use something when it is available. And how far is that jumping up? Let's go ahead and pull a little bit of that out. Alright, okay, that's okay. This part right here on the left, your left, is sticking up just a little bit, but I'm perfectly okay with that being like that, just to give it some kind of room. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my A little advertisement here for Ben. Crimson fret leveling file. Sorry. Fret leveling file, and file that down flat as possible until I just kiss the very top of this neck pocket. So, cut off the excess. Thank you, StuMac, for these. I don't know. I've used the living hell out of these. There's a lot of chips in them here from God knows what, from wire cutting and whatnot, but for the price, I'm pretty sure you could get it somewhere cheaper, but it was there. I had money, and it happened. Okay, so push some of that glue in there. I'm trying to feel for any give inside of that, in that little chipped area. It looks like it's in there pretty solid. And tomorrow, and I'm pretty sure that'll be the last of me saying goodbye and see you tomorrow for today, because I really got to wait for this glue to set. I don't know why I'm adding more. Anyway, so I'm going to wait for that glue to set up tomorrow, and tomorrow I will film me sanding that area flat. And maybe that'll be it. Maybe I will start measuring up the scale length for this. I'll go ahead and find out I'll email GFS again, see what recommended scale length is for this guitar, because I'm guessing it's a 25.5, since it's a 20 inch, I'm sorry, 20 fret, 20 fret guitar, 20 inch, 20 fretted neck. It's after work, I'm tired, get off me. So I gotta find out and make sure I get it right, because I don't want to, it might be less than that or it might be more than that. It's probably less, but I don't want to get that wrong and have all my intonation way off after I put the thing together. But one note I did find on the neck is the bevel they put on the edge of the frets is really, really high. Normally it should be about maybe 45, 35 degrees or so. I don't know the exact number, but whenever I go play my guitar, it feels about that. But yeah, it is really, really high up on that scale. Maybe this way? But yeah, it's really up there, so I might have to I do a lot of string bends on the high E's and low E's. I don't know why I said a plural, but hey, whatever. Anyway, I'll work on that later. I'm gonna get this body done first, because like I said earlier, I tend to speed up or work way too fast for my own good, end up getting a crappy product at the end. Likely none of this is, I'm not building any of these for money, I'm building these for me. So I'm gonna not worry about that right now. Again, $60 neck. You see a little, I guess when they were knocking out the nut or trying to fit it, they scraped up some of the fingerboard here. I have to get a nut or be brave and actually build or craft a nut myself, which I've heard of people using cow bone, which I might do. I need to do some grocery shopping this weekend, so I'm going to get some cow bone and have the butcher cut it to size or somewhat close to size and file her up. I gotta come up with a little jig to actually cut and file away that nut. But I am very crafty. I am very, very sneaky as well. You will underestimate my sneakiness. Yeah, alright, yeah. Looks like the nut was cut a little short. That's why you see the top of that maple. So we get a better angle. But now? Oh, and Super Troopers, when's your second movie coming out, man? We gave you all that, well, some people gave you all that money. Please tell us when the movie's coming out, or if you're done filming. But anyway, that nut slot is scares a little crap out of me. Do I follow the bottom of the nut or do I follow the fingerboard? I'm gonna follow the bottom of the maple that's on there. It says straight up, and maybe paint some cheap maple dark and slip it under there as a shim. But this is going to be the fun part, is trying to figure out where to set that nut. There's going to be a lot more work. That's okay. Again, I'm just going to think I got this for really cheap and I'm doing this for fun. This is for me, not anybody else. So I'll probably look up online the measurement between the nut and the first fret and go from there. But anyway, this is for serious. This is me signing off for today. Have fun.